Hey there, it is still December 9th, 2015, still comic book review, reading and review day. Last part I reviewed a bunch of Marvel books, well, 3 Marvel books, not really a bunch. But right now, this video, I'm going to review some DC books, mostly Batman stuff, starting with the only non-Batman related thing, really. The Darkseid War, Lex Luthor, #1. It's a one-shot, so don't know why I said the number out loud. But here we follow Lex Luthor as he ascends to his own godhood, the god of apocalypse. He has received the powers of the Omega Sanction and has become, in a way, the new Darkseid. He has presumably all of Darkseid's powers. He is the new god of apocalypse. And along with seeing his rise to power, as he learned why he was given this power by the refugees on Apocalypse. I guess that they are the human tribe that wants to escape Apocalypse. We also get scenes of Lex Luthor's childhood and other various flashbacks. Another one we get is his first meeting with the Man of Steel, with Superman. And so we get these flashbacks interwoven with him discovering how to use his new Omega powers. And in this book, Lex Luthor really has to learn where strength really comes from. Is it from within? Does he have to face his own challenges, or does strength come from, being helped? Does, a god still need help from other people, or can Lex Luthor do what he's done his entire life and claw his own way through? It's a pretty good book. Like a lot of these other Darkseid War books, they're kind of character study-ish. They take these characters with limited, or like immense but still restricted power and take off all the gears and say, well, what does this person do with unlimited power? What does this person do when faced with all of these new things at once? And so, it's the same thing with Lex Luthor. Luthor has always been someone who wants more power. He's driven by, power. And we find out what happens when he finally gets it. Kind of the opposite of the Superman story, where we have someone who, already has ultimate power and then kind of figures out what he wants to continue doing with it. Anyway, pretty good book, as most of these times have been. And I can't wait to actually get on with the rest of the story and see what all these characters do now when they meet back up and face a common threat in the Anti-Monitor, or whatever they'll be facing in the future. Next up, we have Batman, issue number 47. And at this point, as entertaining as I find each single issue of this story to be, it kind of feels like this arc has been going on a bit too long. Like, I enjoy every issue, but I think back, well, what has really happened? And I can name the same things that are just kind of repeated in every book. Ipso facto, in this issue we have Jim Gordon versus Mr. Bloom, which is what's been happening the past 2-3 issues now. In this issue, Jim Gordon finally gets the best of Bloom. He kind of turns the tables on Bloom here after escaping the Batbot and destroying it. Gordon still finds a very Batman-esque way out of this situation and manages to, top Bloom, to turn the tables and to arrest Bloom, even. Meanwhile, Duke Thomas also engineers his own narrow escape from supervillains, the Penguin, Scarface, Great White Shark. And I think that's supposed to be Black Mask, although he looks really gimpy for some reason. Before being retrieved and rescued himself by Bruce Wayne. And that's where we're at. Basically, I don't want to spoil the end of this book. The ending of this book is fantastic. I don't want to spoil it too much, but after being rescued by Bruce Wayne, Duke Thomas tries to bring Batman back. He knows that Bruce Wayne is Batman when it seems that Bruce Wayne himself is forgotten, and he tries to bring Batman back and steps into the subway tunnel and tries to awaken the dormant Batman inside of him. Meanwhile, all is not what it seems with Mr. Bloom, of course, and the story must go on. Mr. Bloom has more tricks up his sleeves even after getting arrested by Gordon, but I don't want to spoil what those are. And then, as I said, the final pages of this book are a bomb drop. Like I know I say that like every other Snyder issue of Batman, but he's just a really talented comic book writer who knows how to set up and unleash a really just jaw-dropping cliffhanger. And this is the same sort of thing. It brings back a character we haven't seen in a while, someone very close to Bruce, and doesn't really introduce them, but reintroduces them into the story alongside Bruce Wayne and raises all the inevitable questions that come with that character returning, which is just really neat. And everything fits. It doesn't feel like he's doing this for shock value. Like so many other, I can see this story being told by so many other writers and having it fall and just be like, oh, this person again, this person's back, great. But the way Snyder just constructed the story, it feels like, oh, this person's back, It's not, you're not tired of seeing this person again, like, oh, great. You're excited because, wow, what is this person going to introduce to the story now? It's exciting. And it comes like right after that moment where Duke Thomas, tries to bring back Batman from Bruce Wayne, and you're thinking, well, if Duke Thomas couldn't do it, maybe this person is what it takes to bring Batman back. Meanwhile, aside from just Bruce Wayne becoming Batman, we see Jim Gordon come more and more into his own and reach his stride. First by rescuing himself from being blended by a helicopter, and then by taking down Bloom. Which he does. Bloom has him under his foot, and he still finds a way out. He finds a way to weaken Bloom and to eventually capture him, however short-lived that capture might be. It's an exciting book, and it's good to see all these, especially Gordon. It is great to see Gordon become his own Batman, but it's still great that Snyder's like, don't worry, we'll get Bruce back, and he's still making that play into the story, and then just seeing Duke also become his own Robin, which I'll be getting into more when I review some other books in this video. Next up, we have Batman and Robin Eternal, issue number 10. And we start where we ended up last issue with the fight you were already kind of expecting, I'm sure. Bane and Red Robin and I messed up Tim and Jason into Jim. And Jason Todd versus Azrael. This immediately raised a question, is that why it doesn't quite make sense to reintroduce Azrael if you already have it in canon, in continuity, that even in the New 52 Bane broke Bruce's back, because that begs the question, who defeated Bane the first time? Because pre-New 52, post-Crisis, whatever you want to call that period, Azrael, as Batman, defeated Bane, and Bane knew that it wasn't Bruce in the costume. I guess that, Bane doesn't know that it was Jean-Paul Valley, which this Azrael is. But it kind of, it doesn't quite make sense if you consider everything in canon and how things worked pre-New 52. Again, I'm not saying that Bane should know who Azrael is, but Tim should, because Tim was Robin at that period, unless he wasn't anymore, and Dick was still... It raises a lot of questions continuity-wise, bringing Azrael back and having nobody know who he is. So Bane and the Robins face Azrael. Well, Bane starts off fighting Azrael while the Robins escape in order to go to the mainframe and collect information on the Order of St. Dumas and, by extension, Mother, who they're helping. And Tim kicks all kinds of ass. Meanwhile, in a flashback, Dick and Bruce have a fight that ends with Dick leaving the Batcave, or the Prague Batcave, in a huff after he feels that Bruce does not trust him enough, which drives Bruce to go back to Mother for mysterious, unknown reasons at this point. And then at the very end of this book, we catch back up with where is it? Where's the page? Where is it? After that, we catch back up. I guess it is only these few pages. We catch back up with Dick Grayson and Harper Row as they follow their own trail of breadcrumbs towards Mother. And finding, well, this time it's towards Orphan and seeing where Orphan came from. So that is it. A lot of moving forward in this book. Definitely we move forward with basically all the storylines, not a lot of character development or kind of pace going on here. It's all just, okay, let's switch locations now. Let's move the Robins out of Santa Prisca. Let's move, Bruce back to Mom, and let's move Dick and Harper into a new location to face another threat, another cog in the machine, or whatever metaphor you want to use to describe that. So yeah, still really enjoying this story. Although again, all those questions I already brought up. We get lots of good action scenes, mostly involving Azrael, and him fighting Bane, and then him fighting the two Robins. So that is Batman Eternal. Batman and Robin Eternal as it's going so far. And so far still so good, I guess. Next up is Grayson number 15, tie into Robin War Part 2, Grayson number 15, whatever you want to call it. And this book just continues over and over and over again to impress. Because this is a tie-in book. Usually tie-in books, you expect, okay, it's not going to really be a great entry in the ongoing series, and it's going to function as a tie-in and tell this main story, but it's still going to feel incomplete. Grayson 15 knocks it out of the park. It is a great issue of Grayson on its own that uses a lot of the storytelling techniques and tricks and other things that readers have come to expect from the series, and it is also a fantastic entry in the Robin War story. Now, it won't make a lot of sense if you haven't picked up Robin War Part 1, admittedly, and it does kind of interrupt the overall story that Grayson has been telling, but it is an amazing single issue of Grayson, and again, it is a great issue just of comic books in general. It doesn't help that the first half of this book syncs up very, very nicely with Make a Man Out of You from Mulan, the training song, dun, 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 fast as the coursing. I'm not going to sing because I can't. But the training song from Mulan. Half of this book syncs up just so nicely with that as Dick Grayson and the rest of the Robins decide to start a Robin school in order to train all the kids in the sewer that now want to be Robin. And we have a moment with each of them. We have and this it really does fit up so nicely because we have Tim teaching them how to fight with bow sticks while blindfolded. We have Jason teaching them how to steal and be silent and stealthy as they're trying to steal wheels from cop cars. We have Damien just kicking their asses in order to teach them resilience, basically. Because there's no way they're going to outfight Damien because he's Damian Wayne, but they're getting back up again and learning how to do that. And then we have a meeting between Dick and Duke as they finally kind of come face to face and meet each other for the first time and size each other up even. And so that whole half of the book is just great. It's a training montage. Again, it's pretty much just that scene from Mulan extended to half a comic book. But it's amazingly well done. We get a lot of character development. We get a lot of, I mean, it's a training montage and not a lot of story going on there, not a lot of plot advancement, but seeing what each of the Robins think is the most important part of being Robin, and then them teaching that, them becoming their own Batman in a way, and passing all those lessons. It's really fun to read. We also find out that one of the Robins has been a snitch, has wired Jim Gordon, his Batman unit, into what's happening at the Robin School, allowing them to trace what's going on with all the Robins. And this all comes to a head when the original Robins lead a select few students of theirs to run a mission in order to find out why all the Robin kids are getting arrested, and, you know, just all that sort of stuff. And of course, because of the snitch, the police know where all the Robins are going to be, which leads to them getting arrested. And then the rest of the book, we see how Dick and Duke try their best to escape from the cops and all the other Robins stuff, too. Like I said, it's just an amazing issue. Again, like, basically for all the reasons you explained, this is top-heavy. The first half of this issue is a lot better than the last half. But even in the second half of this book, we get a lot of bonding between Tim, Jason, Damian, and their, like, the Robins that they're with. They're like their top students, I suppose. And then we get just a lot of bonding between Duke and Dick, as Dick, like, really sizes up Duke and decides, okay, you're going to be the leader of these new Robins. Here is what I'm going to need you to do. Here's how you become, you know, an actual Robin, learning from the best to the first, all that sort of stuff. So, just, yeah, I mean, if you're invested in the Grayson story, again, if you just care about the story that main book is telling, you could probably skip this issue. But if you're reading Robin War, if you just want to read a really good Robin story, if you like Grayson the character enough to detract a bit from the story that book is telling, this issue will not disappoint you. This is a fantastic issue and really should set the new bar for what a tie-in should be, in that it should feel like a regular issue of that comic, even if it's telling a completely different story, but it should also tell the story, you know? It shouldn't just focus on one character and be like, well, this is what this one character does, even though I said I liked it when this book did it. But that's completely different, because it's telling a different sort of story. But yeah, this isn't a tie-in so much. There are some tie-in books. I think, like, Gotham Academy is a tie-in that doesn't actually play into the main Robin War story. But yeah, this is just another chapter in the Robin War book. It is fantastic. And it also does justice as an issue of Grayson. That it's not Robin War number 2, it's Grayson number 15, and it deals double duty as both equally well. Heavily, heavily recommended. I cannot say as well for Detective Comics number 47, Robin War Part 3. I haven't been reading Detective Comics lately, kind of lost interest in it. But this, of course, just follows the story from the last issue, where we see Dick Grayson confront Jim Gordon as to the arrests of all the Robins. And then we see what is happening with all the Robins, that they are kept in this supermax prison called the Cage, and that a lot of them are there pretty much illegally. You know, their parents don't know, they don't have legal counsel, they're being held pretty much in a Guantanamo Bay type situation, and it's implied that they've probably been tortured as well. So while Dick tries to reason with Gordon in a way as to what's happening with all the Robins, Damian, Dick, Tim, well, not Dick, but Damian, Tim, and all the other Robins try to engineer an escape from their prison. And that is the crux of this story. That's basically it. two sides to this book. Dick trying to reason with Gordon and see what they can do, and then the Robins try to escape on their own from prison. I feel like a lot of characters kind of go backwards in respect. I mean, Dick and Gordon are fun to see together. They're, like old allies reconnecting. But Damian seems to step back. In this issue, he was very much open to the idea, like, no one's ever going to be Robin again, but I might as well help these losers. And in this issue, he's like, I'm Robin. I'm the only Robin. I'm the real Robin. I'm going to escape because I'm Robin, and no one else was Robin. I'm the only Robin. So I feel like we get us, go a few steps backwards that way. But we do see Duke Thomas again step it up more as a leader. We see Tim and Jason, have a bit of dialogue with the other Robins too. Again, not as fantastic as the issue of Grayson was. Not many books are going to be. But again, it does its job. We get a little more of it even like slow down the story a bit because it takes place in basically the prison and then in an alleyway where Dick and Gordon are. So it doesn't even advance the plot all that much. But you're going to have to read it because at the end a few things happen that will probably tie into the 4th chapter of this book, and so that will make sense without reading this one. And that is it for DC Books this week. Thank you for watching. If you liked this video, like, subscribe, all that stuff. Any comments, questions, book recommendations, anything whatsoever, please leave them below in the comments. If you're interested in the Marvel books that I reviewed this week, that is in part 1 to this week's reviews, and I have a couple more books to review coming up in the next part, so I hope you join me for that. But if you decide not to, I understand, and I want to thank you for watching this video, and I do hope that you'll join me for some more comic book reviews.